Okay, it is
Some chips, please.
6:51 a.m. I'm not gonna lie, I woke up
Yo,
like a
Finny,
few hours
need a
ago,
refill?
I'm pretty full, man.
and
Let me see if I
yeah,
can
so I'm trying to get this
rearrange.
video out before the dogs start
Nope,
fucking barking.
can't do it.
I don't know if stomachs work like that, dude.
Sometimes it does.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah, we're trying. I just want to say this, like we're trying to be like Cinderella and hang on for a thread, not for somebody to save us. No, I mean in the sense of not giving up. It's just a lot. But anyways, I want to say the time I channeled 9 beings. Yes. Oh my god, I think I'm too close to the mic. I think I want to be on the radio one day. I do. I think that'd be fun. But yeah, it's been a minute. I want to say that. But I had lots to work on. I've started taking my magic more seriously. I started to take I think I said this already. My journey more seriously, and I really don't want to procrastinate anymore. At least when it comes to important things. That is. So that's what I've been trying to do. Trying to figure shit out with my magic, with my power. Stuff has been discouraging, I'll be honest, but I can't give up. I'm just not going to. It's just who I am. But anyway, I have my little motivators though. Myself and things that I find on TikTok. So yeah, in my experiences. But yeah, one of those experiences, however, that I go back to when I feel discouraged is when I channeled 9 beings. Yes, 9 beings. It was insane. It was really insane. Because how it started was that day, I just felt weird. And if you've been on a spiritual journey long enough, you know when you have those ups and downs, and where you have ups and downs, but then you have moments where it's kind of like plateaued or stagnant, and it feels like the air is quiet, the cosmos is quiet, your surroundings is quiet, and you're like weirdly detached from the world. It's like you're in it, but it's like this doesn't feel. I'm not connected. I don't feel connected, right? It was kind of like that, but I still felt connected to the world. But it's just something I felt not empty. I just felt an absence of, right? It felt like, no, I'm supposed to be doing something, but I don't know what. And so I said, fuck it. I said, fuck it. I'm just gonna get high. So I took an edible, half of one, obviously, because girl, we're not trying to get comatose, vegetableized, caramelized, onions. So, and honestly, can I say real quick, I miss this. And I think that was another part of it too. Like, I miss being back on social media. And I started my TikTok again. Follow me on TikTok. I uploaded some videos. Soul, SOL dot star 13. I'm gonna have to change it in my YouTube information every fucking where. But yeah. So follow me there. It's another thing I did. I've been doing. But yeah, so I got high. And some time went by. And I'm like, for some reason I had like this small feeling to channel, but I'm like, I don't know, like I was kind of like going back and forth with it, like should I channel or should I not channel? Should I or should I not? But clearly, obviously, by the title of the video and by what the fuck I said by the intro, I channel. I said, you know what, fuck it. So I sat in my bed and crisscrossed. You don't have to say crisscross the channel. I was just that's how I normally sit when I'm sitting in my bed. It's crisscross, applesauce spoons in the bowl. And I just said fuck it. So I channeled. Girl, it was weird because I started because at first I wanted to do Hekate. But I said, nah, let me just wait on Hekate because let me not have that to be my first channel because I don't know what I'm doing. But and I want to say this real quick. Everybody at every moment, at every second of every day is channeling. It's just a matter if you're consciously doing it or not. And that's another thing I learned too, because I didn't know that I was always channeling. Because I'm clear cognizance. I obviously have all of them, but I have a really dominant clear cognizance, right? And I get that through my imagination. I'm extremely imaginative, and I just equated that to be me being. I just equated that to me being the magical child, which yes, it's obvious, but it's not because I'm a magical child necessarily. Well, I think so. But anyways, I think that's a huge part of it. But I really just think because I'm just extremely connected to my imagination by proxy, I am the magical child, if that makes sense. But anyways, so yeah, I'm extremely imaginative. So and I see things with pictures, right? So I had no idea that that's well, obviously when I channeled I did, but I mean like collectively leading up to that moment, I didn't know. It just didn't hit me like someone being extremely imaginative is a channeler, but everybody channels in different ways, and I didn't know that. That's what I'm trying to say. I didn't know that everybody channels in different ways because I never like consciously with intent sat down and started channeling. So guess who my first channeler was? Guess who my first channeler was? Guess who I called first, and guess who picked up the phone first? I'll wait. Okay, not too long. It was Merlin. So y'all, I'm pretty sure y'all can tell by my channel. Obviously, I'm extremely into magic. Extremely, as it's who I am through and through. Like if I don't do it, I can't exist. And that's why when my magic doesn't work, I feel so discouraged because I'm like, damn. Because in this house, you have to work at a certain time. My practices can't be done at the exact same time every day. I mean, I try to for the most part, but especially when my nephew come over here, it's hell. The house is already fucking chaotic in hell. It's constant noise all the time. But I gotta put up my sign. Hold on.
Yeah, the Demi original. I haven't heard that before. That's new to me. Yeah. Oh, you gotta watch my video on the Demi then because I do a twist on it. So the Demi original
I might cut that out, girl, but who cares at this point? It's like 10 seconds. Yeah. So the house I live in is chaotic 24/7 out the day. And I have like very small windows to actually do anything without there constantly somebody busting in my room, without there constantly having dogs barking, or my nephew constantly barking as well, or making noise or slamming shit. And that's also why it gets so discouraging too, because it's like, damn, I'm the only person in the house that actually wants peace. Everybody else don't. And it's okay if they don't, but I'm just the complete opposite. I need my peace and quiet. And I got noise canceling headphones, quote unquote. They don't really cancel out much, but I'm trying to be like Cinderella and keep my heads up, girl. But anyways, aside from that, not to trauma dump, but yeah, I channeled Merlin. And can I just also say real quick, these beings were nothing how I were told they were. I mean, all of them, because we're gonna get to demons. Yeah, we're gonna get to that in a minute. But none of these beings, none of them were anything that I was told they were. I would say the only being that was closest to what I was told was Hakate. But even then, they weren't. But hold on, I don't want to do too much. But yeah, so when I channeled Merlin was cool as fuck. Like Merlin just seems like cool. Oh, and I want to keep in mind, like I had a dream. I want to wait. I think I had after. No, I had this dream 2 days before where I was reclaiming my power back, whatever, and there was two characters. I'm assuming they were both me. Um, I was pink and I had chaos magic and I was in this like kind of like pinkish world. And my other version of myself that was wearing purple and green was asking me, "What are you doing?" And I started reclaiming. I'm reclaiming my magic back. Then I flew away or whatever. And I had no idea that Merlin's colors were green and purple. And keep in mind, it's more like a maroonish purple. But keep in mind that Merlin is a person. The Merlin is an archetype. That's a title. The Merlin is an archetype. So usually they just go by Merlin, but Merlin is an ascended master essentially. So like Yeshua. So that's which I want to be too. But it's just. But sorry. They are the Merlin is a title, and typically they just go by Merlin, obviously. But Merlin is an actual person. But yeah, so I channeled Merlin. I didn't know like that's what was about to happen, but I channeled Merlin, and Merlin, the way I describe these beings are typically not necessarily like how most people would describe them, and I'm not saying that how most people describe them is wrong. I will say that the way that you see how 99% of people describe these beings as if like they're so external and they're so mature and they're so outside of you and different, and you have to be this way, you have to act this way because they are, and you have to give offerings, and you do that. You don't have to do any of that, and how people describe them is only a fraction of who they are. These beings, you have to understand, just like us, we're multidimensional just like they are. And these beings are just as much an archetype as they are living beings outside of us. We can embody them and we can go to them. I just want to make that a thing too, because people are so extreme. They either say they're only an archetype, they're not real, or people say they're fully real and they're so real to the point where they're external outside of you and they're so different from you and they're so far away and you're so puny, and it's not the case. They're both an archetype that you can embody and an actual living creature. But yeah, and half of these beings aren't even like what you would consider like gods necessarily. They're from other planets. But they are higher dimensional beings that can help. They're essentially like your star family. But anyways, yeah, Merlin. How I described Merlin was they gave me a lot of air energy. I felt air. I didn't see I didn't see anyone's face. I just felt energy. And everyone's energy felt different. Everyone's energy, every single one of their energy was different. Even the fairies and the dragons that I channeled. But I probably should get to that, but I'll just say it later. Because technically Merlin wasn't the first being I channeled. It was dragons. And I was doing it during my meditation, and it was my dragon breathing. They hopped into my being, and I was meditating, doing breath work, and they were breathing, and I felt them. They felt so powerful, felt so good, and felt home. It felt like I felt safe. And when I was breathing with the dragons, it was, forgive me, I have ADHD, so if I jump around, please forgive me. I'll try to stay on topic. But real quick, because technically, I want to be fair, the dragons were the first beings I channeled, and consciously, and their breathing is so slow and methodical, and it's meaningful. It feels like when they breathe, they understand, if that makes sense. And yeah, so their breathing was very deep, slow, and there was some growls in there, and it just felt raw. It just felt right. It felt dragons have a lot of fucking breath. Like, they have a lot of breath. It's beautiful. So they felt powerful and wise. Like, just their breathing felt wise and powerful and understanding. And I love that. So I love my dragon friends, my dragon kin. But so yeah, they were technically the first beings I channeled. They were amazing. They were fucking amazing. Um yeah, so technically the second would be Merlin. And Merlin, like I said, felt like a lot of air. They felt like a ball of air in one space. But I just felt like almost like, excuse me, like Aang or Ong from Avatar: The Last Airbender. It kind of gave me that type of vibes, but when Aang was older, it felt like, just like I said, it felt wise, smart, and airy, and they were really cool. I don't know, I can't explain it, but they really were cool. They honestly, all the beings, every being that channel was cool as fuck, but in different ways. And if I had to say it, Merlin kind of gave me like that older sibling vibes, very older siblings. Like, let's say you're 15 and they're in their 30s type of vibes, but they're so cool, you don't even see age type shit. You know what I mean? And it was amazing. And and I'm trying to find another way to describe it for y'all. Or they were like that cousin where y'all were just so close to the point where y'all just call each other siblings. Y'all just, oh yeah, that's my sibling. That's my sibling. That's my sibling. But y'all cousins. But that's my sibling. Nah, that's my sibling. You know what I mean? And I felt light. And when I was channeling them, of course, every being that I asked, I gave them 4 questions. 2 of the questions were typically the same. I tried to throw in a different question in there. Except for the dragons, because I was just meditating and I felt them in me. I wasn't trying to like channel them for questions. Honestly, when I was channeling all the other beings, I wasn't even planning on questioning them. I mean, not question, asking them for questions. It just happened sporadically. The question part, I'm like, you're here, so like I don't want to. Oh my god, I'm like, they're here, and I don't want to waste their time. So let me go ahead and just make up some questions real quick on the spot. So some of the questions, sorry, I'm stretching, were the same. So I asked Merlin, "Are you my Essentially, I asked them, "Are you my teacher? Are you gonna teach me magic?" And they said, and I asked them a lot of yes and no questions. The only beings I don't want to get into it yet because I don't want to try to, but I would say there were 3 technically, 4. Oh, 5. Okay, there was only a few. Okay, there was like half of them that actually spoke. But oh my god, but I only asked yes and no questions because, like I said, it was on the spot, and I don't want to get into all that, and their time is precious, right? So I asked them each 4 questions, and I asked Merlin, "You're my teacher, whatever." They nodded in me and said, And every being that jumped in me held my head up. I want to say that too. So yeah, they said, and I asked, what else did I ask? The questions I'm telling y'all are going to be kind of out of order because I forgot like the order how I asked them. But I asked if I'm going to work with you soon, and is it divine timing? They said yes. They said Sorry, there's gonna be a lot of but yeah. And I wish I could remember every fucking question I asked, but y'all can't. But yeah, and I asked, were you what else did I ask? Were you going to I asked if you were gonna teach me magic. They said yeah. Oh yeah, I asked if they're gonna teach me magic, they said yeah. And I asked if they're my spirit guide. They say yeah. And of course, divine timing. Is it divine timing? They say yeah. And what did I ask? Will I become proficient in magic? And they said yeah. So, and then they left, and each one of them, I'm not gonna lie, each one of them in their own way, kind of left a little dramatic. And I think that's just because creation itself, imagination itself, is just dramatic. So, because we're gonna get on source in a minute. We're gonna get on imagination in a minute. I call them imagination, but we're gonna get them in a minute because I got a bone to pick. But yeah. So after that, my third one. Could you guess who? The mother of keys and crossroads. Hecate. So after I channeled Hecate, now I will say they are not for the weak. They are not for the weak. You got to be one crazy bitch or one tenacious bitch to summon Hecate, because what they say about the woman, what they say about her, the mother, yeah, she's very. I would say most of it is true. She's very intense. She's very intense. But what I got from her was not the intense, like, oh, you need to fear, you need to bow down, respect, and just like, give your soul and sins to her, or otherwise she'll punish you. That's not what I got from her. What I got from Hecate, yes, like I said, she's very intense. And I think the reason why I loved her energy so much is because I'm very intense. Because when I felt Hecate's energy, I was like, oh, Hecate, yes. I was like empowered by it because I want to feel powerful like that too. And and what I saw from Hecate's energy. Oh, and I want to say go back to Merlin too. Merlin's energy was a bunch of air. What I saw was air, and then I saw the colors green and purple, obviously. So that's what I saw with Merlin. With the dragons, I really didn't see anything because, like I said, I wasn't intentionally channeling. I just, excuse me, pasta. I just channeled the dragons in my meditations to just feel them. So I really didn't get a good image of them necessarily. But I guess what I would say, when I'm looking at it now and after I channeled them, was like, I guess um, bluish astral light kinda energy. Um, kind of like telepathic energy almost. It was more so I channeled a dragon, but I say they as a collective. Um, that's what I got from the dragons. Very Hoth, home, deep. I would say the best way to describe dragon energy is very deep in understanding and wise. But Hecate, what I got from Hecate was I saw golden energy in the center, and from the golden energy, it was like shadow energy coming out of the golden energy. That's what I got from Hecate. That's what I saw. I guess I saw their energy, but that's the energy I saw from Hecate. Like I said, I didn't see anybody's face. No one showed me their face. I would say other than Beelzebub, but we're gonna get on to that in a minute. Their energy was very intense. There's no other way to put it. It was very intense, and there was dark in there. But it was just, it was, whew, it was raw and intense. And the questions I asked for Hecate was, are you one of my spirit guides? And they were like, oh. I'm like, oh. Hecate is a stark difference from Merlin. I just want to say that. Hecate is not air energy. They are not air energy in the slightest. But and one thing about Hecate, oh yeah, she direct, she clear, and she know what she want to do. And before I even, and this, I almost forgot this part. Before I even asked the question, I was like, okay, Hecate. One moment after, I was like, yes, Hecate, and she held my head up, like she held my head up, held it up, and I was like, first thing first, before I say anything, I just want to let you know, you are that girl. You are everything. You are an icon. You are the legend. You are the moment, and you are literally the Beyonce of like the witch world, of the magic world, of just the cosmos, essentially, girl. And I said something about Merlin too, but I can't remember what I said about Merlin. I think I was like, oh yeah, before I told Merlin bye, I was like, Merlin, you're so cool and all that stuff, and I was giving him praise because they're all cool, okay, and they're all legends and icons, and I want to be that one day. I look up to them. I really admire them a lot, and including my Star family too, especially them. But they're all every being that I channel, I consider my Star family. But yeah. And then like I told Merlin bye, I love you, and all that stuff, and like they laughed and all that. And I was praising Hekate Chuckle, which I didn't know Hekate would like. It's not like I didn't. I don't know. I just what I heard from Hekate, it made it seem like Hekate never had any humor. Hekate has humor, y'all. They have humor. So when I was giving them praise and all that stuff, when I was telling them all that, they chuckle a little bit. And yeah, I asked them, will I learn dark magic? And they said yes. And I'm like, that's all I wanted, to learn dark magic. And because I'm all for that, you know? I'm like a Raven from Teen Titans. I just love dark magic. And we're gonna do a video on this channel about dark magic and light magic, and how it's not synonymous or the same as black magic or light magic. Those are all completely different concepts and understandings. But yeah, so they were telling me that. And like I said, I'm trying to remember everything I said because I don't know if I asked Hekate that or someone else that, but I think it was Hekate. Yeah, it had to. Yeah, it was Hekate because then I asked Beelzebub someone else. But anyway, so I asked Hekate that, and sorry if this video is gonna take too long. I'm trying my best not to make it so long. It might be an hour, but I channeled Hekate and I asked that. They were like, so I'm gonna learn dark magic. They're my spirit guides, and I guess I could title it the time I channeled 9 spirit guides. Oh my god, that was so epic. But yeah, and then I asked them, will my magic grow? They said, as in yes. And then I asked something else. Like I said, I asked them all 4 questions, but I'm probably gonna give y'all just 3 or 2 per person because I really can't remember. I wish I kind of made this video right after, but whatever. Yeah, so I asked them that, and I asked them, so is it gonna be divine timing when we work together? They said, So essentially I said, okay, I love you, bye. I can't wait to work with you. I'll see you soon. And they left out my body up. And I want to say this real quick. A lot of these beings, and I didn't know this until like a few days ago. It didn't hit me until a few days ago. And I channeled this when I'm making this video. This video is like 2 weeks from when I channeled, and my realization was like 2 days ago that these beings that you channel, or these beings that you're really connected with, like on the deepest level, they were always there, y'all. I had no idea when I first started my spiritual journey in 8th grade that Hekate was there. I'll never forget because I thought it was like, because sometimes when I come out of a dream, I'm still coming out of a dream, if that makes sense. And I heard a hellhound. At the time, I was being attacked by a lot of lower level spirits that gave me sleep paralysis, but they never could really give me sleep paralysis. I would say other than one time, but every other time before and after that, they could never give me sleep paralysis because I know how to break out of it. But yeah, so one of the times I came out of that little sleep paralysis thing, I heard a hellhound. I just assumed that it was one of those spirits trying to get at me, because when I started my spiritual journey, there'll be a lot of negative entities around me, and every time I go to bed, they will always try to get me, like give me sleep paralysis, or they'll knock shit over and stuff like that. Even when I was in my friend's house, they'll try to creak open doors and all that stuff. But yeah, so I just assumed that it was just them trying to fuck with me, and I just said I don't give a fuck. But in hindsight now, I realized that was Hekate, and Hekate has always been there, and has always left nodes. And it's like, I ain't gonna lie, I almost kind of cried though, because like they were always there. Everyone, not just Hekate, everyone I channeled was always there, and I just didn't know it. I just didn't have the eyes to see or the ears to listen. But now we do, so we're better now. But make my family proud. I will. But sorry. I talked way too long, and the video said no, ma'am. I forgot. I'm recording on the goddamn editing software, and I'm only able to record my audio 30 minutes. But clearly we surpassed that. Yeah, like I said, they're always there, and yeah. But anyways, so I'm gonna be a very powerful witch one day. So after Hekate, I channeled. Who did I channel? I don't think the order really matters, but I want to say it in order.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. It comes with a lot of workshop, so it's not just like
Cersei. 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 So I channeled Cersei. And what I got from Cersei, the energy that I got was like a palish pink cloud, not cloud, skies. And I would see like goldish kind of palish clouds in front of the golden, in front. Okay. So slow down. So from Cersei, the energy that I saw from Cersei was pink, pastel pink, skies, and golden clouds. And she felt sweet like pomegranate or papaya. There's another fruit out there that I was thinking of. Apricots. Kind of just less apricots. There was just like a very very undertone. But yeah, so that's the sweetness that I got from Cersei. And Cersei was very like, oh my god, like that's sister. Hekate gave me mother, obviously. Like the mom, like she cares, she loves for you. I'm talking about Hekate right now, real quick. Yeah, Hekate gave me the vibe like she cares for you, she's the mother. But you know that's the mama. Yeah, she she gonna like get you good, do you right and stuff like that. But you know like when you about to cross that line, like don't cross her. No. That's the mama who don't play. She kind of gave me the mom from Pretty Little Liars, Spencer's mom, a little bit. Yeah, that's perfect. She gave me Spencer's mom from Pretty Little Liars type of vibe. We're like, it's mom, but it's like my mom is letting you know something. You listen, you will listen, and you respect her, type shit, And I want to say real quick, if you just have common sense, then you would already know to respect any being that isn't just a deity. If you're not going out and disrespecting people for no reason, then common sense will tell you, obviously, you're not finna disrespect higher dimensional being, or even a lower dimensional being, for that matter. Because who wants to just go through life just constantly causing problems? Like, come on now. Like, unless you're a problematic person, then yeah, you might need that message. But I'm pretty sure, I hope that we all have common sense enough to understand that we don't need to be told to not outright disrespect anybody. I'm just saying, if you do need to be told that, you're a fucking child, and I don't care how you feel about it. It is what it is. Grow up. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, Cersei was very sweet. She felt like if I held her, she would just be soft. And once again, a stark difference from every being was a stark difference from Hekate, except for when I channeled two versions of myself. But we're not gonna talk about that right now because this other version called Dragneologus. Anyways, whatever. Okay, so yeah, Cersei was very sweet, and she's so soft spoken, and she kind of. No, I'm not gonna say this because I don't want to expose anybody yet. Because she kind of feels somewhat similar to the next person I channeled. Yeah, so after Hekate left, I channeled Cersei, and I asked Cersei, "Are you my spirit guide?" Whatever they said. And get the very much different than when Hekate did. Hekate said, "Yes, I am." I'm like, "Okay, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am." But yeah, Cersei was definitely the sister. Cersei gave me like middle child. Like if Cersei was my sibling, she would be that sibling that might be older than you, but only by a year or two. Or if she's not older than you, she's your exact same age, and she's probably just like a month older than you, a month or two older than you. So, yeah, Cersei felt like that, and they told me I was a spirit guide, and would they teach me magic? They said, So they're gonna teach me magic, and um, I can't remember who, but I think I asked them or somebody if I'm on the right path and all that stuff. I think I asked something akin to that, and she was like, or they were like, yes, and so, and I asked them, was it divine timing or whatever, and they said, and oh, and real quick, these beings are above, like, is it pronounced this way or that way? As long as your intentions and heart is pure, they'll understand. And eventually, once you build that connection, you will eventually know it. Like, oh my god, like Toth, like their real name, I just keep forgetting their real name. It's because I'm not consciously evolved yet to keep remembering their name. But I'm working on it. I am. But yeah, so back to Cersei. Yeah, Cersei was just very sweet golden clouds, pomegranate and papaya. And I love her. That's my sister. That really is my one of my sis. Good sis, good sis, good sis, good sis, good sis. And I gave her praise too. I told her she was cool. She's so sweet. I love her. Like, I admire her. And there was a TikTok on my YouTube that I cherish to this day, and it was about how Hecate met Cersei, and Cersei used to practice magic on the Isles, or I can't remember the Isles. It pervades me, but how first of all, I want to live just like how Cersei was living on my own little island, minding my business, doing my own thing with my own animals, my own fruits and vegetables, just being great, okay? But one day, yeah, on TikTok, there was this edit, and it was Cersei just doing her magic or whatever, and they said she really didn't have any special divine gifts. And I mean, she could do stuff like manipulate the weather, manipulate animals, plants, turn people into turn people into beasts, but that was earth magic, if that makes sense. That wasn't like no real reality warping magic, you know? And I felt that. And I related to that story so much, I had to save it into my phone. And I take it with me still to this day. And it was like, how did she actually? Let me just look up the video so y'all can hear it for yourselves, because this actually made me cry on the inside so many times. Or in TikTok.
It actually creates order better in its crystal or salt form. Temperature. So there's inverse relationship between energetic form and structure form.
Where is it? No! I'm gonna cut this part out.
That is actually, as a metaphysical detective, as somebody who
She's daughter of
has
Helios.
spent their
I
life
forgot how she said
dedicated
it.
to esoteric knowledge, that
Cersei.
what I just said is a missing link. It would,
To
in
hurry
my
up.
eyes, make entropy the demiurge.
And what is the demiurge?
Oh, and this leads us back to the spiritual world.
Okay.
The demiurge is the architect. It's known as the artisan or the architect. So we can't really talk about a spiritual war intelligently the way that I want to without me first saying logos. There, I said it. Just kidding. Logos means
Okay, so I found the video. Okay, so
The Tale of Circe and the Shattered Veil. Long ago, when the sea foam still whispered the names of titans, the practitioner Circe lived in exile on the island of Aiaia, her magic but a flicker of what it would become. Though born of Helios's fire and Perseus' depths, she possessed neither divine cunning nor strength. Her magic brewed in solitude, potions to turn men to beasts, spells to bend winds to her will. But it was not enough, for the gods saw her power as merely a child's play. One night, beneath the blackest moon, Hecate, goddess of night and crossroads, visited Circe's shore. With 3 faces and torches aflame, she stood where the sea met the sand and whispered,
You play at magic, daughter of Helios, but you do not wield it. True power belongs to those who walk the borders between life and death, mortal and divine.
With a wounded ego and determination, Circe vowed to master magic beyond Hecate's reach. She spent years gathering herbs that bloomed only under eclipses and spoke with creatures forgotten even by the gods. Then, she sought the forbidden. She tore open the veil of Limen, a barrier meant to separate mortal magic from the divine. Hecate felt the tremor in the air and arrived at Aiaia in a storm of fury.
Foolish witch, close the veil.
Hecate warned, for the veil protected the world from magic too wild to control. But Circe only smiled. She had learned not just to summon magic, but to rewrite its laws, to make spells that lived, breathed, and evolved. Power surged through her veins like a river freed from its dam. In awe and rage, Hecate raised her torches, but for the first time, they flickered. Circe's magic, no longer bound by old laws, spread through the night like wildfire. And Hecate, the eternal goddess of borders, stood on the shore of Aiaia, watching a witch unmake the very limits she once guarded.
Hold on.
From that day on, even Hecate spoke Circe's name with caution.
That made me cry. Because that's how I literally feel, 1. And 2, that's the most beautiful story I've ever heard in my fucking life. That was everything. And I'm so happy for Circe. I am. But regardless if that happened the exact same way or not is irrelevant. The story was beautiful and poetic regardless. But I believe that's kind of what happened. And yeah, so that's why I intentionally channeled Circe after Hecate, because I'm like, okay, I'm so invested into that little story. And the story actually continues. There's 2 more parts. But yeah, they're not relevant. Sorry, I'm fixing my mic. Come on, Mike. Okay. So that's how I felt. And then after Hecate, I channeled Medusa. And Medusa, I would say, probably felt the most different out of everybody's. I'm trying to see who else felt, well, aside from Hecate. But when I say different, I mean Medusa, straight up. First of all, I gave her praise. But before I say this, should I say? Hold on, how should I say it? But yeah, Medusa felt like completely different than everybody else. First of all, I gave her praise. I told her how much I love you, like a sister. I really look up to you. I admire you. You know. And she was like, she grabbed my hand and she put it right in the middle of my chest, where like, essentially, I think it's the solar plexus is. And she was like, thank you. And she was like, no, I mean it. Thank you. And Medusa felt like a human. And I kind of hate saying that, but it's not to degrade their position or anything like that. Being a human is not bad either. She just felt very real. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Medusa felt like I could go into the next room and talk to her type of vibes. Like, she felt human. Like, I could just approach her like she's right here. Like, as if she's in the same exact space, in the same exact form I am in. And I could just talk to her. And I want to say, all these beings are technically androgynous, but they just tend to lean to one side or the other because we're all multi-dimensional beings. Just want to say that. But Yeah, Medusa was everything. Like I said, she felt so human. She definitely gave me like, once again, sister, big sister vibes. And but she didn't give me big sister like, she gave me big sister like she was just warm and comforting, like big sis who's just gentle and kind. And that's why I say she kind of remind me of Cersei a little bit, because they both gave me that warm vibe, like just warm, like I want to hug y'all forever type of vibes. That's me saying that in my head. um so yeah, I asked them if they're my spirit guide. They said they're very sweet too. I asked them, will they teach me magic? Will I be learning magic from them? They say yeah. And of course, divine timing. So when timing is right. And they've been giving me, I want to say this, after this, they all have been giving me little nuggets here and there to look more into. So yeah, just it's divine timing. They don't want to rush it. Obviously, they know my pace. And I'm working on no longer procrastinating with shit that actually matters. So, which I think I've already talked about that. But yeah. But yeah, so Medusa was just everything. And just talking to her, I feel like I was talking to somebody I knew my entire life. Technically they all did, but Medusa just felt like, and it's crazy though, because my entire life I've always, especially playing Wizard 101, if you know, you know, the myth school has a spell called Medusa. I've always loved Medusa, but ever since I played that game, I don't know what it was, something just clicked inside of my brain, where like my consciousness, where I loved Medusa. Like that made me just love Medusa on the highest level. And the spell is so cool. It's still one of my favorite myth spells to this day. I don't know if they changed it to where it only gives you one stun, but I know in the past, no, it does. It gives you two stuns, I think, unless they updated the game. Because I know they updated a lot of the spells, but it would hit you for a lot of damage, and it would stun you for 2 rounds. And that was like, especially in PvP, that spell was just so powerful. Especially old PvP, that spell was just very powerful. Um, that was always my main spell to use. Always one of my main spells to use as a myth. And I used to that was one spell where I just never got tired of, unless it was used on me. Then it was annoying, but other than that, it was that's fine. But I've always had like this kindred spirit to Medusa, and I don't know, it just felt very deep and personal, I guess. And I just respect Medusa for just being awesome, you know? Like, especially if what happened, especially what happened. Medusa just is a symbol for a lot of shit. And it's not just about femininity, it's not just about vagina or dick. A lot of these stories and a lot of these deities represent far more than just vagina and dick. It goes way beyond a dick and a vagina. Like I said, all these beings are hermaphrodites, technically, but we're all multidimensional beings. So how we show up is how we show up. It's not for you to put your basic levels of understanding onto me, onto them. We're not supposed to project our low level thinking onto them, and that's why when I channeled them, I went in without any preconceived notions. For the most part, I went in because I like I said, I knew some of the stories, so like it'd be impossible, but I went in without projecting anything. I went in without feeling like, oh, I gotta be this way or they see me as this. I just went in purely like a child and just said, let's go for it. So yeah, I love Medusa. First of all, she's a Naga. Those are snake people that live. I don't know if I think they're all throughout the world, but I know they live in the planet. And a lot of black people are connected to them. But I want y'all to understand, it's not necessarily about black, it's about culture. Just want to say that. But yeah, and I started respecting my locks more because Medusa had locks, and I call them my snakes now. So yeah, I started taking care of them more, if anything, right? But yeah, Medusa was a hoot. And like I said, I love you. I said I love you. Bye. I'll talk to you soon. And they left. And then this one was, when I say preconceived notions, this one, because now I remember hearing the stories about, okay, this being and how they always played this type of character. And I want to say history when it comes to women is trash, because the way they just talk about women and how they have women depicted in history is garbage. If they're not evil, if the woman isn't evil, she's a whore, and that's just period. And I'm like, okay, can we grow up? But this person I channeled, I gave a little monologue before I channeled them, was Morgana Le Fay. So I channeled Morgana Le Fay, and I said Morgana Le Fay gave me that very. And when I need people to understand, when I say aunt or uncle, I'm not calling them like old or like old. I'm not calling them old or like you a auntie, you don't know nothing. Like, I'm not calling them like that. I'm saying she's an auntie with respect, and I'm saying like she gave me auntie vibes to where, like, let's say you have a mother, right, and a father, right? You got parents, and Morgana Le Fay gave me, she would be the sister to your parent, right? So therefore, she's your aunt. But because she's such a cool aunt, she's essentially like your mother. And when your other parents are away, and or when your aunt comes in, or when you're just alone with the aunt, she would do shit that typically you're not allowed to do. Like, let's say it's Tuesday, right? You got school the next day, and you going over to your aunt's house, and she says she'll take you to school. Because she's been watching you for the entire week, right? While your parents have been away on a vacation, whatever. So she's been watching you this entire week, right? And the entire time you spend with her for the entire week, you get to do shit that you typically wouldn't do with your parents, right? So you might be able to stay up later. You might be able to eat more. You might be able to eat sweets or eat more sweets. Like, she takes you on the town to a part where you typically don't go, and she's just known, revered, and everybody respects her name. And you doing shit where, like, oh wait, you can do that, and she's like, well, yeah. And I know, and then she'll be like, I know my sister's a little stickler, but just wait until you're older. But you get it. Like, she'll show you shit that you typically not supposed to quite yet, but because she's just that girl, and because she's so cool, she can get away with it, if that makes sense. Like, she the type to be able to convince your mom to, like, for you to stay up later. You know what I mean? So, or your parent, whatever. That's the vibe I got from Morgana, and I love that. And of course, she's my spirit guide. Excuse me. They're my spirit guide, and of course, they're gonna teach me magic, and of course, they're going to, I almost said give me cookies, girl. And of course, it's divine timing. So whenever they show up is when they show up. As long as I pay attention to the crumbs they leave, we're good. And no, I have not have an altar yet. I just started creating one after I channeled all of them, and all I got is a small Amazon box with the paper that it came in, because I had a package in it, and I just left that paper in there. So that's all I got. It's my little altar. I'm still trying to figure out how I want to do it. Like I said, I've been really discouraged lately, a lot. So it's been kind of hard tapping into my power, into my magic. But yeah, anyways. Yeah, I love Morgana. Morgana the Fairy. Morgana Le Fay. So yeah, they were so cool. And the reason why I got so heavily into Morgana was because I was obsessed with her. And I was obsessed with the show Merlin. And I'm obsessed with her character in that show. For some reason, I don't know, I just loved it. I just loved it. I feel like that was probably the closer depiction of Morgana, as far as like she had a reason to turn from everybody, whereas in the other shows she was just straight up evil just because she a woman. Period. And even in video games. But yeah, there was this one edit that I just really loved the most from her. So yeah. After Morgana. Oh. After Morgana, I channeled Lilith. And y'all, we're all multi-dimensional beings, right? And you're probably not gonna hit us anywhere else, but because I know I haven't. But Lilith was absolutely nothing like how I was told Lilith was. First of all, Lilith is a girly pop. I said it. Lilith is a girly pop. And I want y'all to understand Lilith is an aspect of this being. Like, because we're all multidimensional beings. That's why I'm trying to figure out if Akate has this parallel with this parallel, but most of the beings I channel have this parallel where they have an extraterrestrial counterpart. Like Lilith is an alien, to put it in layman's term. But this aspect of Lilith is a demetress, a seductress, an enchantress, a magic wielder, right? She represents a certain part of the femininity, right? So this Lilith I channeled was this aspect of Lilith was very girly pop. Was very, very girly pop. Like she was a girl's girl, if that makes sense. Like the mannerism, because Lilith, when I channeled her, she hopped into my body, right? But I didn't just channel her. She made me do a ritual in the bed, bitch. So the entire time I was channeling her, I did a ritual. But that wasn't until a little bit later because I asked her, so wait, am I going to learn magic from you? She was like, mm-hmm. And then I was like, so are you my spirit guide? She was like, mm-hmm. She's like, mm-hmm. And the way she had me postured was like that episode, that part from Legally Blonde where they, where not Anne Hathaway, bitch. What's her name? Technically it was from all of them, but the OG one where why can't I think of her name? Hold up, I want to say Anne Hathaway so bad.
Yeah, I'm always trying to visualize these things like how I would draw it, and I'm thinking of that emotional scale.
Oh,
Where on the bottom there's shame.
I guess I put a picture up here too. Reese Witherspoon. Well, Reese Witherspoon was when when they were in that, I think, hair shop, and what's her name? I can't think of now. What's the other girl's name, bitch? Yeah, who talks like this? And the gays love me. Jennifer Coolidge. And they were teaching Anne how to get somebody's attention, and they dropped like a handkerchief or something on the ground, and they were like, "You bend and stiff," something like that. I can't remember it, but it's a movie I haven't seen it forever, which I gotta watch again. But they were teaching them, you bend and you poke your chest out. That's literally how Medusa felt. Like she had my chest poked out, had my body arched, and she had my arms in a way where it was just so femme. It was so femme. And yeah, and then after I asked that third question, she was like, hold on real quick. And she proceeds to do a ritual. Y'all, it was so insane. I remember just being consciously there and just laughing the entire time. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. They never told me to stop because I made sure to stay out the way, but I was just like so giddy to be connected, y'all. Like I just love being connected to creation. And it was so funny because she was the only person that did a ritual with me. Because like I said, anyways, whatever. She was the only person that did it that didn't do a ritual in me. But when she did it, I'll say it lasted about 3 minutes. And yeah, about 3 minutes. Give or take. It was so fun. She made me feel sexy. And that was one thing I struggled with and still kind of and still do almost not as bad, nowhere nearly as bad, but I'm working on that as far as like, and now I'm not struggling to feel sexy. I'm not struggling, but like now I'm in the part where like, but I'm at the point where now I'm learning to exude my sexy, But yeah. So she did a ritual on me there, and it was fun. Like I said, I just felt completely just gone with the wind, fabulous girl. I felt sexy. I felt great. I felt beautiful. I felt amazing. She was doing shit where like it was very sensual, but I can tell it was activating something in me. I just don't know what. But yeah, so that was fun. I told her bye. She flew up into space like everybody else did. And after Morgana, I really want to know. I can't remember the exact order at this point, as far as like, I don't know if I channeled imagination first, if I channeled my highest self first, or was it my star family? Technically, it's all kind of the same thing. But I want to say I channeled. I can't remember the exact order, but I'm gonna go ahead and say I channeled my highest self first, which is beautiful. I'm a rainbow, but my highest self was everything. What I got from them, which I know what for the most part what my highest self looks like. Um, the energy I got was golden, obviously. Um, it kind of like it was kind of like a mix of Hakate energy with Cersei energy. Like it was intense. Like I could feel the intense energy, but it wasn't intense where I was like, it was, I know who I am, I know why I'm here, and it's all you need to know type of vibes. And as far as like the energy was clear, it was direct, but it wasn't like raw. It wasn't aggressive, it wasn't raw, it wasn't like intense, but it was like a soft intense, if that makes sense. And yeah, so I know what my highest self looks like, obviously. But my highest self name, obviously, which I feel like it just makes sense for my channel, for who I am, right? And which I thought I made this up, but I didn't, but we're gonna get into that in a minute. Was Magic. My highest self name is Magic. And they have rainbow flame hair, and they're kind of blue. They're bluish. They kind of look similar to Knights from the Knights video game, as far as how they move and their body and the clothes they wear. But they're blue. They're like a light blue, and their hair is rainbow flames. And I thought I had made that up, but myself, that's crazy. But I was telling myself, I was like, oh, so, and I was telling myself, oh, wait a minute. So everything because y'all know I get my imaginations, I get my information through my imagination, right? And they were telling, I was like, oh crap. So wait a minute. If you're real, that means all things, all things that I imagine is real. And right before I even finished that sentence, another version of myself that I had thought that I had imagined was called Dragneologus Fae, right? They're a mix of a demon, dragon, angel, and fairy. And they appeared. Their energy was like Hekate's. Like it was intense, but it wasn't intense as in intense dark. It was intense fiery. And Dragneologus Fae is another version of myself on the highest planes, right? That I thought I created down here in my brain, but it wasn't just me creating it. It was me because I was telling my highest self was telling me, so everything that you get in your imagination that you truly feel a connection to, that seems unexplainable, because I'm making TV shows about this shit too, and video games. That's just unexplainable. It's true. That's what's happening on the highest levels, and I'm like, oh, so if you're real, that means a lot of other shit is real. It's just it's on a very high level. So of course I asked myself the same questions. Girl, of course I'm my own spirit guide. I know I asked stupid questions. I laughed at myself, laughing at myself, if that makes sense. So yeah, the typical use. They'll teach me magic. They'll teach me this and that and all that. And I think I want to start connecting to my higher self more because I think that's where I'm headed. Because lately I've been feeling dead, and that's kind of dramatic, but I feel dead. And I think that's why I also feel discouraged too. And I'm about and lately, and even now, the past 3 days I've been wanting to cry, and I've been hypersensitive, and I don't know why. And I know we had like a blood moon recently. From this point, I would say what, like 4 days ago, we had a blood moon. I equated it to that, but girl, I'm feeling like I want to cry, die, lash out, and be angry all at once. But we're working through it though. But not to trauma it up again. But yeah, and yeah, talking to my highest self, both versions were beautiful. They were amazing. I love them. And they honestly acclimated to my body the most. Well, one of the beings that acclimated my body the most. Like, it just felt like I was talking to myself. And then my soul started talking. My soul inside my body, which is me. Y'all get it. But that was like, so I think my highest self activated something, or I was just happy to see myself. But yeah, so that was fun. Um, oh, and believe it or not, I was in the realm of imagination, right? And I don't think I told y'all this, but one time, how I found out that, and this was source. I don't call them source. I call them imagination. And when I was trying to figure out who I was, I had no idea that it was them telling me what I was, because obviously they know me, right? Because every time I would look, the first time I asked, I was like, "Oh, you're nothing." And this is over the course of years. It wasn't just over the course of like 2-3 years. It wasn't just like right back to back. But the way I'm wording it, it is. But when I first asked, it was like, "You're nothing." And then a year went by. Then I asked again. I was magic. I got magic. I'm magic. That's who I am. I'm magic. And then I want to say the third time I asked, and this happened a month or two ago, where I asked again. I got high and I asked, and I was really trying to focus on it. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And I said pure imagination. And that made me realize something clicked. It made me realize that's what source is. Source is just pure imagination and pure divine unconditional imagination, right? And when I channeled source, like I said, I don't call them source. I only call them source for y'all, so y'all can understand. But I call them imagination. So when I channeled imagination, even before I channeled imagination, even before they told me I was pure imagination, even before I asked that third time who I was, I got an image of this place. It wasn't this place. It was like this state of being, but also this place where I saw it was just imagination. Like, it was like yellow and pink. It was like a very pastel pink and kind of like a light yellowish. No, it wasn't light yellow. It was just a regular yellow. It kind of, the color scheme resembled the yellow monkey from Super Monkey Hyperforce Team Go. I can't remember the name exactly because I'm dyslexic, but yeah. So that's the color scheme it gave me. It was pink and yellow, and I would always see that every time I would see pure imagination. And right after I channeled myself, I saw imagination. It was like but anyways, imagination came right beside my highest self. So on the higher realms, which I knew this, but it seeing it is a different story. On the highest realms, I am playing. My highest self is playing with imagination. How crazy is that to say? But I am literally playing with the imagination, right? And when I challenged the imagination, they were obviously golden. And I think pretty sure everybody says that. They were golden, but they were a child almost. Whereas my highest self looks like knights from the video game, right? But take that knights and make it about like 10 feet tall. Imagination was half that. So I'll say imagination was about I'll say about 5 feet tall. 5.8 feet tall. As far as length go, obviously we're multidimensional. We can change our height and shape, whatever. But the form that imagination came to me was a golden, androgynous, naked being that was like kind of metallic like, and they were very gold, very bright, very light, and they felt like a kid essentially. I think that's because I feel like a kid. I really relate to imagination feeling like a kid, so I think this is how they just showed up. But they showed up like a kid or whatever, and I asked, so do I call you source or imagination? For me, I don't know about y'all, but for me, they told me they said imagination is a perfect way to put it. And I said, okay. So imagination from this point on, I'm gonna call you imagination, okay. And so they hopped into my body or whatever. They hopped into my body or whatever. I didn't even ask them were they my spirit guide or were they trained me magic. It didn't occur to me. But they did hop into my body. Oh, yeah. So before that interaction even happened, I don't know if I'm getting it wrong or if it's backwards, but from what I remember, they hopped into my body first before they spoke, and they were doing a ritual. But then halfway through the ritual, I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't a ritual. And they were like, they hopped in my body. I was like, is this a ritual? They were like, no. And I said, were you doing this just cause? They were like, kind of like, yeah. I was like, really? What are you doing? What? So they're a goober. They like to play a lot. They play too fucking much. That's what I told them. And so yeah, they were just talking to me. We were just vibing. And they love my imagination. And that's one thing where I would say that best describes me is my imagination. And I cherish that the most. So I'm happy they love it. And they love me for being me. So I want to continue to talk to imagination and magic more, especially during this time because in my ancestors, because I really feel like I'm dying and I can't explain it. But like, and I'm hyper angry for some reason, hypersensitive. But to the point where I want to kill somebody. But anyway. Yeah, so they were fun. I love them. My highest self is playing with imagination. Literally. They are in the same universe and they're playing with each other. Because they came together, which was weird. It was like my highest self came to me first, and then like I would say like 7 seconds after that, here come imagination. Here comes source, right beside them. So I'm like, ugh. Because even when I was younger, before I even got into channeling, before I even got to spirituality the way that I did, I would always tell source, imagination, one day I'm gonna be up there with you and I'm gonna have a tea party. We're gonna have a tea party, we're gonna have a party, we're gonna have friends, we're gonna do everything. And I will always say that. This is when I started my spiritual journey in 8th grade. So yeah. So after them, my voice is getting a little we're out, but we're almost done. Whew. Actually, let me go pee and get some water.
Something that is far more organic, something that is far more compelling and divine, which kind of reminds me of our last talk about a simulation with worse and worse resolution. So the demiurge is this architect that has an agenda, and then from there we kind of like see the different sides of the demiurge. Like one side of it is the demiurge didn't ask to be born in the first place. It's a blind god because it cannot see above. It cannot see there is a god above it. And so there's a sympathy that can be had for it on one side because you can really see almost a villain backstory behind it. But then on another side, and this is the more popular side, the demiurge is flat out arrogant and is blinded by hubris. So from that angle, it doesn't want to know if there is a God above it. It doesn't care. What its main concern is sure, you can sympathize with it or not, but it will continue to Channeled does, which is try to act as a strong force of predeterminism to put you to sleep. And that would be one way of looking at the spiritual war as well.
Okay, so I guess in my mind, I'm trying to make this more black and white, but it probably isn't black and white at all.
No, please try.
So on one side we have the good, and we have this remembering, we have an awakening. And then on the other side we have this architect, this demiurge that is trying to force us back into this like locked state of forgetting into the material world, where we're just victims, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that starting to? I'm trying to
You got
crystallize this a bit.
Yeah, it gets more in depth than that, but that's all we need to really focus on for there being like a spiritual war. Now, why I started talking about ontology is because we need to always kind of be able to examine whether or not that was the intention of this realm, or it was somehow hijacked, or some sort of planned intervention that was not the original blueprint. And so that's where I would say are the two. I don't mean to present a dichotomy. I'm not trying to make people only choose one of the things I said, but to me, that's the dichotomy.
Yeah, I think that it's important in the spiritual awakening to be able to hold multiple ideas that are even paradoxes at the same time. And so, like, one of them is that we're all one. You know, our souls are all one. We're all in this ocean of consciousness, but at the same time, there is this split between the 5D and the 3D. And I learned in our collaboration how we discussed that making the art two sides. It makes it very clear. There's like this one dark path that's just like turning your mind off and going into this other pathway into like material pleasure and addiction and being stable. The other way is like free will, creating your destiny, purpose.
Okay, so we're back. So they left. Oh.
What I'm really grappling with is like,
Good God.
what it's leaning
So after them, my hand smells like lemons now. I drank some lemon water. But after that, I channeled my star family. So I channeled my star seed family. And girl, they were a hoot. So I channeled them, and girl, okay, first off, aside from source or imagination, because imagination, it felt like it was just me. Once again, it felt like imagination was just me talking to myself. So I love imagination so much, man. My baby, my kid. Yeah, I feel like I was just talking to myself. So it didn't feel like a being was really in my body. And the same with my star family, which I knew my star family. First of all, your star family will channel differently than, say if you channel Hecate, or say if you channel Merlin, they will feel different than, I guess, like your star family. Like I said, they're all my star family. But as far as like, because your star seed family birth you is essentially, so that's why it's different. You literally came from their vaginas, so yeah, that's the difference. But the way they came to me, they didn't hop in my body like everybody else did. They came to me telepathically. It was mental, so my body didn't really feel too crazy. Of course, I'm sensitive, so my body felt them, but it wasn't the same. It was more so mental. And yeah, so they were telling me. So I first of all, I know everybody. I'm not gonna lie. I'll say most of them. I asked at least one stupid question. It wasn't intentional. It was more so in hindsight. I look back at it. It was kind of stupid. because how I before I even channeled them, I was on this bender of fixing my mic. I feel like it just keeps moving. I was on this bender of who is my star family? What am I? What am I? And this is before I channel. Like a lot of these beings, it's weird. I would say a week before I started channeling, every single being that I've channeled for a week, I've been obsessed with just researching them more extensively. So like it was weird because a week before I channeled them, I was researching every last one of these beings extensively. Technically, some of them was like 2 weeks before, but because I wanted to know like who am I as far as like my starseed lineage goes, whatever. So, because y'all, I had this weird obsession with darkness, right? And I'm a very dark person. And now me coming to this conclusion was over the course of years, but I was like, why am I so dark? Why am I dark? Because I don't think I told you this, but I had a dream where like because I was asking the same question, and in this dream I was asking, why am I so dark? Why do I love the darkness so much? Like y'all, I'm obsessed with it. And in this dream, I don't know who this person was. I don't know if they were just me, this other person, because I know who I was in the dream. I know what I look like, but there was this other person. Not they were androgynous, but I don't know if that was me or somebody I knew. And in this dream, they told me it's because you're of the underworld. And I'm like, and then they showed me a picture of myself, and I had fangs, and I had golden, almost snake like. I had golden snake eyes, and I didn't have any horns. Sadly, I gave myself horns in my own head, but I didn't have any horns. I had my locks; they were black, and I took my shirt off because in this dream I was like, I'm so itchy. Why am I so itchy? And I took my shirt off, and they told me it's because I'm molting, essentially like a snake, shedding my old skin or whatever, my old self. And I wore these black, flowy kind of bell bottom like pants, and that was it, and no shirt. And it was like, see, this is what you look like or whatever. And so yeah, fast forward to now. Fast forward to more recently when I asked, why am I so obsessed with darkness? Why am I so obsessed with darkness? And I had the strongest urge to look up reptilians, right? First of all, I will say 99% of people, 98% of people are so ignorant when it comes to reptilians because if I had just kept listening to the internet, I would be just as ignorant. Because there are so many, first of all, there's not enough information on reptilians other than them being evil. There are so many reptilians out there that are not evil at all. At all. During that whole galactic war, there were a lot of reptilians who, first of all, can I say this real quick? First of all, there's a lot of reptilians / draconians or dragons, because I'm also part dragon too. There's a lot of dragons and reptilians that didn't agree with a certain group. It was a certain group of individuals that wanted to dominate. Not all of them. And then most of the reptilians and the dragons didn't agree with that. So obviously they went down a lighter path, obviously. And reptilians get this, and even dragons, think about it. Anything that's reptile-like, regardless if it's mythical or not, it gets a bad rap, right? And that makes sense because I've always said as a kid, I feel like an outcast among the outcasts. And during the war or whatever, the reptilians, I ain't gonna lie, they were being very racist, very prejudiced towards the reptilians that wanted to do good, right? And Tiamat was a reptilian. I don't think y'all knew that either. But Tiamat is a reptilian. And a lot of reptilians were ostracized and outcast, and a lot of people didn't want to mix their DNA with reptilians because they saw them all as bad, and that is so racist. I just think it's funny though, because I'm like, God damn. This makes sense as to why I've always, because even when I'm among people who are different and weird like me, I still felt like they're not like me though. And it wasn't an ego thing. I just felt like even with people who were considered outcasts, I couldn't be myself. I just feel like an outcast among the outcasts. And the problem was because I haven't found my own group of outcasts among the outcasts, and that's why. Like I found outcasts, but they weren't outcasts among the outcasts. But yeah, so I did research on the reptilians or whatever, and what research I could find that wasn't depicting them as all evil and all bad and all wrong. Don't ever talk to anyone. Who cares if they're good? Don't talk to them. That's what I would hear. And excuse me, I kind of farted. Yeah. So after I channeled my Starseed family, oh, I asked them if I am I Andromedan. They were like, they looked at me like, so no, and you know you're not. That's the look they gave me. And when I asked them, first of all, I couldn't see their face. I just felt them because when I would say when I asked them, "Can I see your face?" They face for some reason would not come through, and every time they face would show up, it was like it was like the vision would just wipe away, and they kept trying to shake my head so it could recalibrate my brain or whatever, so they can come through, and it wouldn't work. And I said, is it kind of like white blood cells where like anything that's foreign, it'll just wipe it away and try to attack it? They were like, yes, that's exactly what's happening. So I couldn't see their face because my way my brain is set up or my mind is set up or the way my body is constructed down here on this physical plane, it just wasn't coming through. Their faces were not coming through at all. And I would say I sat there for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, having them shake my head from left to right, up and down, so they can get an image to come through, and it was not working. But yeah, so that was fine. So I asked them, "Am I Lyran?" They said yes, and I said, "Wait, am I Lyran and Reptilian?" They said yes, and they told me, and they were one of the few beings that actually spoke through my mouth, and they were telling me essentially everything that I truly am or truly feel a strong desire to or of. That's what I am, because they told me I asked them, am I a hybrid? They said yes. And then that's what they proceeded to tell me, everything that I truly feel in my heart that I am, that's what I am. So that was fun, because that goes into the next thing that I'm about to say. That goes into like me channeling my dragons. And because I have a fire dragon, by the way, spirit guide. I don't think I told y'all that. I have a fire dragon spirit guide that came to me in my dream. But yeah, I I channeled them. And I'm trying to remember what I asked them. I really now with them I don't remember anything because I didn't ask them anything remotely similar to what I asked everybody else. But I asked them for questions. Oh, and when I asked them if I was reptilian, my reptilian family came out. And now I kind of got an image of them. I don't know if it was the exact image, but I got a image of them, and it was them in a lab coat. I don't know if my brain just, like I said, there could have been like a little fuzziness going on there, so my brain could have interpreted it a little differently. But what I saw was a white lab coat for the reptilian, that is. I saw a white rat because I would try to create a picture for my Lyran side, but I couldn't see anything. So I think I just made up an image in my head of a black lioness in a red robe. I think I just made that up. I don't know if that's exactly how they look, but yeah, that's what I made up in my head. So it might be a black lioness in a robe. I don't know. But as far as my reptilian, what I saw was a white lab coat. Of course, they was ripped as fuck, just big, kind of like Reptile from Spider-Man. But they had black dreadlocks. And they were intense. They were actually intense. And okay. So they were intense, and then I asked them, "Are you?" I don't know if I asked them, "Are you part of me?" or like something like that. But they were like, "Yes." They said yes. So yeah, I think that's my uncle or something. But yeah, my Lyran side, the person that I felt that I channeled gave me like they didn't feel like a mom. They felt like an older sister. And I know I say everybody's fucking older sister, but they felt like an older sister who She was an older sister. Yeah, you just knew she was an older sister. Like if we stood side by side, you can tell who's the oldest and who's like the mature one. So that's what she gave me. And I felt like I would come to her a lot just cause, if that makes sense. Like she's the older sister, but I think I would look to her as like a mother almost, or essentially. I'm almost done, y'all. But yeah, so like I said, that's how they felt, like a very, very close sister who I saw as a mother, and I feel like I would just hang out with them just to be in their presence. But yeah, so we're almost done. After them, I channeled one of my favorite demons, Beelzebub. 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 I channeled Beelzebub. And I think what it is, and demons get a really, really bad rap because I love demons, and I've always been obsessed with the darkness. Even as a kid, I had very dark thoughts. But as I got older, I just realized, like, after I healed my trauma, obviously shadowed healed, I just was still obsessed with the darkness. I'm obsessed with darkness and the concept of evil, right? And it makes sense now because I'm a fucking evil mad scientist archetype. But yeah, so or just a mad scientist. So when I contacted Beelzebub was nothing how I heard Beelzebub would come. Like I said, I just channeled these beings randomly. So I think what I concluded after I channeled all of them was, oh, that's what I asked my Starseed family. Duh, bitch, I'm so dumb. But I asked my Starseed family, wait a minute, did y'all push me to take an edible? Not like they pushed me to do drugs. No, I asked them if they were my catalyst point or my catalyst comment. If you watch Adventure Time, I say catalyst comment. But I asked them if they're my catalyst comment, and they were like, yes. Because they didn't push me to take drugs necessarily. They pushed me to channel them. And I was supposed to channel all those beings that day. I'm assuming that was probably in the contract. But yeah. So I channeled everybody because I was supposed to. But I channeled Beelzebub. And Beelzebub, if you watch Adventure Time, I did not see what everybody else saw. I mean, I will say the one thing that I would say it was consistent is Beelzebub is pale. As far as like when they showed themselves to me, they were pale. But they looked like the Goblin King from Adventure Time. But imagine the Goblin King if they were a child. I would say they were a child and they were about like 4 feet tall. They had like blacked out eyes. And they were purely naked, but they didn't have any genitals. That's what Beelzebub showed themselves to me. And Beelzebub was essentially a kid. Because when Beelzebub popped up into my body, they felt like Beetlejuice. And that is the best way to describe Beelzebub from when I experienced them. They felt like the entity Beetlejuice. Well, the demon Beetlejuice from the damn musical. They were very spunky, very crazy, very childlike. And when I channeled them, because when they jumped in my body, they were doing all this crazy stuff like woo, wah, like making all these funny little noises, like a very funny, like Beetlejuice clown hybrid type of thing. And they were just goofy. And they were, oh yeah, and I asked them when they hopped in my body, I asked them, wait a minute, is this your playful side? They were like, yes. So apparently, and this what made me really realize that all beings are multidimensional. Like I knew this, but it really hit it home for me that everybody has a playful side, everybody has a fun side, everybody has a serious side, everybody has a stoic side. We're all everything. So it's just like I said, going back to the very first part of the video where I said every being that I channeled was nothing how everybody told me that it would be this way, and it wasn't it. I'm not gonna say they were wrong, it just wasn't like that. I think I got more of like the playful sides of these beings, or like a more of a, I guess I could say gentle maybe side. I don't know. But I know some of these beings were far more playful than I had thought at all. But anyways, yeah. So I channeled Beelzebub, and they were spunky. They were just like Beetlejuice. They were funny. They were crazy. They were just doing a bunch of shit in my body, and I was just laughing, and we were just having a good little time. And then I asked them, "Will you teach me magic? Are you my spirit guide?" They told me, "Yeah." And I asked them, "Do I have demon in me?" And they said, "Yes." And I asked them, "Will I learn how to fly and open portals?" They told me, "Yeah." And they told me, and yeah, that was it. I don't know what else I asked them, but I think that was it. And then they left my body. But then when they left my body, I looked up, but I think their energy went down. And then I was like, wait a minute. And then I looked down at the ground. Well, I looked, instead of looking up, because I was in my bed, instead of looking up at my ceiling, I looked down at the bottom. I looked down at my bed that I was sitting on. And I shouted, I put my hands over my mouth and I shouted, "Bye, Beelzebub, I love you." I'm just so extra. But then it hopped back in my body and excuse me. I don't know. And then they did like this little dance. They hopped back in my body and did this little dance. And then they left back down into the into hell. So that was everything. And then I channeled my ancestors of magic specifically. I channeled my ancestors of unconditional love and magic because I am on the magic path. So I don't need anything else. And I want to say I think about 3 of them hopped into my body because when the first one did, they hopped into my body, right? They did a ritual. They hopped my body and I started doing a ritual. And that lasted for another like 3 minutes as well. And then I want to say 2 more hopped in my body too to add to the ritual. And then they stopped because I had my little money altar up to hopefully draw in some money, right? They stopped. And then one of them did something to it, I guess. I'm not sure. I don't know if it was just me mentally doing it or they did it. But or I don't know if I was just interpreting it differently. Is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, and and then somebody was like, "Is that what we're doing? So is this what we're gonna do now? Is that what we're doing?" Oh, okay. And then we got back to doing the ritual again. It was so funny. But I want to say I got a man and a woman. I want to say it could have been just my brain making it look like that, but regardless if it's a man or woman, it's absolutely irrelevant to all of this. But I just wanted to give you a more descriptive like who it could have been, but it was definitely my ancestors. And y'all, I have learned so much. Maybe I'll get into my dreams that I got after I channeled these beings. But I will say I got the call to do after I channeled them, everybody. My ancestors were telling me they gave me I can't remember if it was a dream. I think it was a dream. I don't know what came first. I think it was a dream. And they were telling me to look up a drinker people of Africa. And yeah, so apparently I'm connected to West Africa and I'm connected to like African magic essentially. Obviously, and I knew that because I've always loved hoodoo and voodoo. And one thing that they showed me that I realized, or one thing that I was shown that I didn't notice, is that if your house was connected to voodoo is if you have veves on your front door. And as a kid, my grandma and my mom used to have those on their front doors, like veves, and those are essentially African magical symbols or whatever. And right, even to this very moment, I'm in my grandma's house, and her screen door, the black part of it, has veves on it, like symbols, African magical symbols on it. And I never knew what they meant. Never knew. I even drew my own sigil when I was getting really much into sigil magic, well, chaos magic, but sigils. And my sigil looks very close to how African magical symbols look like the curves and all of that. And it looks very similar to that. And I didn't even realize, like, I was subconsciously connecting to my roots. But yeah, so it was doing a ritual in me for about 3 minutes. And I told them bye, I love them, and they left. And of course they're my ancestors, so I don't think I asked them. I don't know if I asked them will they be teaching me and all that stuff. I think I just knew because it's obvious, right? So the last person well, right after them, I channeled my fairy family. I channeled my fairies, and I asked them, "Were you always with me?" They told me yes, and they told me, and I asked them because I told y'all I get my information through my imagination, and I will always imagine myself as a fairy, right? And then I would imagine myself either as a pink fairy. It was a pink fairy for the longest time, but that was just me playing my imagination. It wasn't until some months after I stopped doing that, and I got a weird. It was like months after that I got this image. This is I guess I would say this is around the time. This was before I asked imagination who I was the third time, and I got the image of myself as a yellow fairy, essentially with green eyes and green hair. And I was like essentially naked, but I wore green underwear and I had like green leaves as part of like my sleeves. And I asked them if I'm pink. They said no. I said, "Am I yellow?" They said yes. And that right there was all I needed to know because I'm a fairy who lives in an apple. I just want to say that. I live in an apple. I'm a fairy who lives in an apple. And I know it sounds fucking crazy, but yeah, I have a fairy form. Oh, and going back to my starseed family, once again, they told me that everything that I feel a connection to, deep connection to, that's what I am. Because as a kid, I was hyper connected to fairies. But I remember bad fairies, vampires, dragons. They all weren't at the exact same time, but it was an extreme obsession with fairies, dragons, and vampires. Like I did not miss a single episode of the Tinkerbell games. I don't care. Pixie Hollow games. I watched every Pixie Hollow short, every Pixie Hollow game when I was a kid. I was obsessed. And yes, my favorite fairy. I gotta start watching that movie again. But what's her name? Um, no, that's not it. Vidya. Vidya was and still is my number one favorite fairy from that damn show. I don't know what it was. I just love how she controlled the air. Air is one of my favorite elements, and Merlin is air, so I think that's funny. But Vidya was my favorite. Vidya cheese, was my favorite fairy. I still do that finger thing, still to this day. When she in the first movie where she had a little tornado in her hand and she was twirling it with her finger, her pointer finger, and her thumb, and her wrist. I love that. But yeah. So they were always with me. I don't remember everything I asked them, but essentially, yeah, they're always with me. I'll connect with them more in divine timing. So, and they felt really light, by the way, really light. Then the last being I channeled was Tahuti. Now, when I channeled Tahuti or Thoth, I had my arms crossed over my body like I was mummified, essentially. And the same thing happened too when I channeled a lot of beings. I would have my hands in certain positions, but I remember my reptilian side. He was when he started talking. He was like, He had my hands over my chest too, kind of the same way as Tahuti did, but it was more aggressive. But yeah. So when I channeled Tahuti, they were amazing. They were just a sweet little heart. They were definitely give me uncle vibes. Like they definitely give me uncle vibes at the barbecue. Uncle at the barbecue for sure. And I tried I tried to oh yeah, and I asked them were they my spirit guide. They said yeah. And then because a long time ago they came to me in a dream one time after I healed my trauma and all that stuff. They came, most of it anyway. They came to me and they were like, I posted a quote on my Instagram, but I deleted it. I only posted like two parts of it because they kept saying more stuff, but I just wasn't consciously evolved enough to stay in the dream to hear everything they were saying. But all I remember now, anyway, I wish I didn't delete that quote. All I remember now is I am the transmuter of old substances. That's one thing I would never forget. At least that part, because that part was just so cool. And when it came to me in my dream, I didn't see their face. All I heard was their voice, and I was over a sea, and it was like a goldish, greenish, bluish background with it was like a bluish green sky with goldish clouds. but you couldn't see the sky so much, only peaks of it because the clouds were covering most of it. And yeah, so they came to me, and then I had asked them, so wait, I was like, are you my spirit guide? They said, yeah. Will you teach me magic? They said, yeah. And I was like, wait a minute, was that you who came to me in my dreams? They were like, yes. So when I tell you, these beings drop nuggets everywhere, they do. But yeah, so that was fun. I channeled them, and then I asked them, should I try ayahuasca first, or should I try hypnotherapy first? Not hypnotherapy, but the hypnosis first. The hypnosis that where you can talk to your subconscious mind and figure out your past and all this stuff. So I asked them, which one should I do first? And they shook my head, kind of like my Starseed family did, but it was more gentle. I'll admit, it was more gentle. So they shook my head in a figure 8 to try to recalibrate my brain. And the entire time they were shaking my head, they kept saying, hmm, hmm. So I said after like the fourth, I was like, you can't get anything, can you? And they were like, no. I was like, okay, so it really doesn't matter then. Okay, that's fine. And then, yeah. So I told them bye, and I love them, and of course, divine timing, everything. And yeah, so that was everything to me. Channeling. Oh yeah, and I forgot this part. When I was channeling, before I channeled my ancestors, my Starseed family was like, okay, so that's enough. I don't know if channeling 9 beings was in the contract. I was probably supposed to just channel like 7, and I ended up channeling 4 more essentially. Well, I guess I ended up channeling like more than I was supposed to, because I'll say after I channeled Morgana Le Fay, my body I felt electricity in my body, and it starts to twitch up. I'll admit, my neck, the side parts of my neck was intense. Well, I mean, they felt tensed up, and I felt electricity in them. And then I started to get like a little pain, just a little tiny pain. It was like a buildup of energy, I guess, in the center part of my stomach, but more towards the right side of my stomach. And my whole body was just like twitching a little bit, but it's fine. I can handle it. And then after I channeled my star family, they were like, okay, so that's enough. And I was like, hold on, let me channel some more. And I channeled. They was like, okay, I was like, I can handle it, I promise. Let me channel like one more, like 2 more. I got it, I promise, I promise. I was begging, girl. And they about to get mad at me. But after I channeled my ancestors and Tahuti or Thoth, they was like, okay, Alex Russo, enough. I was like, because I wanted to channel some more, but yeah, I'm bad, because I was gonna channel some more people. I was, because they didn't say anything after I channeled 2, because I said let me channel 1 more, but they let me channel Tahuti. So I was like, oh shit. In my head, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna channel some more. And they was like, okay, Alex Russo, enough. I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of hurt. I'm like, excuse me. You have to call me Alex Russo. Like, you have to do that. And I asked my Starseed family if, okay, because like y'all know I got ADHD, autism, I'm dyslexic, right? Whatever. And I asked him, hey, I got a question. Do I have cosmic ADHD? I was like, no. I was like, am I like this up there? They were like, yeah. And I was like, so I have cosmic ADHD? They were laughing, and they said, it's not exactly like that. It's because I knew this, but I just wanted to hear, like, I guess confirmation maybe. They were like, it's not like that exactly. They were telling me I am how I am. I'm who I am. I am the way that I am because that's who I am. It's not about necessarily ADHD, autism, or dyslexia. This is just how I am everywhere. I'm like this on the lower planes and on the higher planes. So I said, oh, okay, that was cool. I just thought, because I was like, is it like kind of like, that was just my wording, and I guess I'm just dramatic, and the way I word shit is very colorful and just kind of crazy. I was like, Oh, okay, that makes sense. Got you. So, yeah, that was the time I channeled 9 interdimensional beings. I channeled 9. Um, I channeled 9. What are they called? Spirit teachers, I guess you can say. So yeah, that was fun. I definitely am going to get more into contact with myself and my ancestors. Well, I've already contacted my ancestors. They told me I need to start getting more into bebes. So, and that was more recently. So yeah, I am definitely doing that. But yeah, that was it, y'all. I know this is far too fucking long. I don't know if I'm gonna cut this up into 2 videos or just make it 1 video. Probably just make it 1 because I'm fucking lazy and I'm not gonna cut up 2 fucking videos. Fuck y'all. No, I'm kidding, but not really. But maybe I'll just keep it 1 long video. Y'all know I'm good for my 1 hour fucking long videos. But yeah, I really, it was the experience was everything, and it really changed a lot of who I was mentally, emotionally, consciously, and I really do want to be better. I am going to be better. I want to do more magic. I want to get out of this house. I want to build up my success. Like, I don't have to be famous. I just want to be able to live the life that I want to live, y'all. I just feel like it's been so fucking long. Like, I have yet to be happy. And I know it sounds dramatic. I've had my moments, obviously, but I mean like truly happy. And I'm happy. I'm happy. I am happy. It's just I'm not as happy as I know I could be because the environment that I live in is restrictive. It's very restrictive and it's very chaotic and it's very restraining and it's draining. So I've been working with the house spirit and I've been trying to raise the vibration in the house, like doing water magic and constantly saging and like mopping the floors with ritual water. And so I'm trying, y'all. And I've been trying to raise up the energy in the house by spreading my energy of unconditional love and rainbows in the house. Because I didn't know that, and I've heard this forever ago, but it hit me when I was on TikTok last week or like a week and a half, where it said there are the number on your house describes the energy of your house, and my house is the number 6, and they were saying that the house has like all things in the 3rd dimension have duality. Excuse me, has a shadow aspect, and so your house might either be this or that. And because 6 is a number of unconditional love, this house is currently the complete opposite of that. It's in the shadow form. People are aggressive. It's very chaotic. Everybody's for themselves. People don't give a fuck about your feelings or how you feel, or they'll play it off or laugh it off or just dismiss it altogether. You have no privacy and there's no respect. So that's the energy I'm working with, the 6 energy of love. And I'm going to do this today, more project that energy. But yeah, so that's where I'm at with that. So yeah, I love y'all and thank y'all for listening to this fucking long ass fucking video. But I hope y'all were entertained and y'all love it. And I really, really, really enjoyed this, and I really enjoy y'all. And I hope we all gain something from this experience. Like, you don't have to be no crazy initiated person to channel your family. You just have to have that in you. You know what I mean? You just have to be, this is what I want. This is my purest intent. This I'm ready for this. You have to be ready for it too, though. You have to be ready for it as well. But yeah, and don't believe everything you see on the internet. Take it for what it is. But when you channel these beings, you still want to go in with the level of unknowingness because they will reveal themselves to you. Oh, and one last being, I didn't channel this being, but I guess I can say it. Osmodius came to me in my fucking dreams, little asshole. They came to me in my dreams as somebody I didn't like, and they were talking shit about me. And for some reason, I just felt like, nah. Because at first when they showed up, they appeared as somebody I don't fuck with, and they came to me when I opened the door. They came to me with like a smiling, happy, vibrant, and bright. But then when I ignored them, they started spreading rumors about me. Well, not rumors. They tried to around the group and in this dream. Shawn Mendes was in the dream too, by the way, sitting in the kitchen, wearing all white. They're very feminine. I love Shawn Mendes. Very feminine, very kind. But yeah, and then after they realized that I wasn't giving them attention, they left. But as I was coming out of my dream, the name Osmodius kept playing in my head. So I looked up Osmodius. So I also want to say that too, like the beings, they will come to you. A lot of them have already came to y'all. Y'all just don't have the eyes to see and the ears to listen. So that's one thing I learned, that open up. The beings that you are really, really drawn to are calling you. A lot of these beings, well, some of these beings I did not know. Like Osmodius, I didn't know I was connected to Osmodius. I was already obsessed with Beelzebub. For some reason, their name just seems so cool. Beelzebub. Beelzebub. But and they always gave me like Spunky. But yeah, so everybody's fun and amazing. And you have to understand, these beings are just as much inside of you as they are outside of you. They are archetypes and energies just as much as living, autonomous, free thinking, free will beings. And I want y'all to really understand that they're not this or that. They are this and that. They are this and that. So yeah, I love y'all. I'll see y'all next time. I don't know when, but I love y'all. Bye.